Hello everyone. Um, I have just designed one tutorial for basic calculus. Um, so what I'm gonna do here is I am going to um, solve a problem, find the solution to a problem, the derivative of y with respect to x, when the dependent variable is expressed as a fraction of the independent variable. So here, y is a fraction of what? It's a function of a fraction, and that fraction is 3x to the 4 plus 4x minus 2 divided by x squared minus 3. So for this type of problem, we need to pursue 5 steps. 5 steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5 in order to obtain the answer. So let us start with step 1. In step 1, we need to multiply the denominator, whatever is in the denominator, by the derivative of the numerator. Listen, whatever is in the denominator is multiplied by the derivative of the numerator. That is step 1. And then when you are done, you simplify and get the result. So that is what we are doing here. Now, we have the numerator as 3x to the 4 plus 4x minus 2, right? That is the numerator. So we are now going to differentiate that, or we are going to take the derivative of that with respect to x, and then multiply the result by whatever is in the denominator. That is the first step. Once we are done with that first step, we write the answer. Now, let's look at this one. So we say the derivative of the numerator is what? That is d 3x to the 4 plus 4 x minus 2, all this by d of x, right? So what do we do there? First, what do we do there? First, we multiply, because we're going to use the general rule here. We multiply the exponent, which is 4, by the term here. 4 by the coefficient of x, right? And the coefficient of x is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And then we always have to subtract 1 from the exponent. So that one is 3, right? Plus, now x is raised to the power 1, because whenever you see a variable x, b, c, it is just that variable raised to the power 1, right? So x is raised to the power 1. So the exponent there is 1, and 1 times 4 is just 4. And then we subtract 1 from 1, right? X to the power 1 minus 1 is what? X to the 0. But do we need to write x to the 0? Well, we don't need to do that. If you want to, you can do that. But it is x to the 0. X to the 0 is 1. Any number raised to the power 0 is 1. Okay? Now, do we need to differentiate this constant? Yes, we need to differentiate the constant, but what is it? The derivative of a constant with the derivative of function with respect to x of a constant with respect to x is just 0. So because it is 0, it does not appear in the derivative. You understand? So this is going to be now 12x to the power 3 plus 4. That is the derivative of the numerator, right? So we are done with that. Now let us multiply that by whatever is in the denominator. What is in the denominator? We say it is what? X squared. It doesn't matter whether this one is whether the 12x to the power 3 plus 4 is in front or the back. It doesn't matter. It gives you the same result. Okay, so don't worry about that. So this is x squared minus 3, and then we have to put everything in brackets here. So multiply by 12 x to the power 3, x to the power 3 plus 4. There you go. So what else do we do here? Now remember this is 2, right? Then minus 3, right? So we now say what you're going to do here to simplify this is what? You are going to multiply each term in the first bracket, each term in the first bracket by all the terms in the second bracket. That's what you need to do. And then you solve. Now let's start with x squared. Now x squared multiplied by 12x to the power 3 is just, when we say x squared, it's just like 1x squared, right? So 1 times 12 is just 12. And then x squared multiplied by x to the power 3. Now, I don't know whether you guys did indices in high school. Whenever you have a to the x, and then multiply by a to the y. And then the answer is just what? A to the x plus y. So that is what we're going to do here. Now we are saying x to the power 2 multiplied by x to the power 3 is just like saying x raised to the power 2 multiplied by x to the power 3 is just like saying what? A to the power 3 multiplied by a to the power 2, right? So it's just a to the 3 plus 2, okay? So similarly, x to the power 2 multiplied by x to the power 3 is just what? X to the power 2 plus 3, which is what? 5. Please do not multiply there. You don't multiply those powers, those exponents. Do not multiply them, you add them. Whenever you multiply indices, you add the exponent, okay? And then when you divide indices, that is a to the x divided by a to the y is a to the x minus y, okay? You subtract when you divide the indices. You got it? Okay, let's move forward. Now, we have multiplied this first term by 12x to the power 3. We have to do the same thing for 4, right? So we multiply x squared by 4. Remember, x squared is the same as 1x squared, right? So 1 times 4 is just 4. But mind you, we have a plus sign there. This one, x squared has a plus. And then 4 also has a plus. So plus times plus is what? Is plus. And then we have 4x to the power 2, right? And now we're done with this first term. Now we are going to take this second term, minus 3. We are going to multiply that by each of the terms in the second bracket. we're going to multiply minus 3 by each of the terms in the second bracket. Now, we say minus 3 times 12 x to the power 3 minus 3 times 12 minus times plus is what? Minus. I told you whenever you multiply two different signs, the answer is always negative. Whenever you multiply two different signs, the answer is always a negative. Two different signs, negative. Two similar signs, positive. Okay? When you multiply two different signs, take for example minus times plus or plus times minus, the answer is always a negative. Whenever you multiply two similar signs, take for example minus times minus and then plus times plus, the answer is just a plus. It's just a positive. The same thing applies to division. If you divide two different signs, minus divided by negative by plus, the answer is a negative. And then plus divided by negative, the answer is just a negative. Okay? You divide two different signs, the answer is a negative. You divide two similar signs, minus divided by minus is a positive. And then plus divided by plus is also a positive. So you need to remember that. You need to note that. Okay? Don't mix up things here. So we have minus 3 times 12. That gives us minus 36. Right? And then we have our x to the power 3. Our small x to the power 3 over there. And now, we are now multiplying the minus 3 by 4. Minus 3 times 4. Minus plus, I told you, is negative, right? And then 3 times 4 is just 12. So that's how we got this one. That's how we got this one. That's how we got these results. That is how we got that result. It is so straightforward. It's simple. That is your first step. Okay? Now, let's move on to the second step. Step 2. Step 2 says you take the numerator. This time now, you are taking the numerator and then you multiply by the derivative of the denominator. Have you seen? Simple. Now, what is the derivative of the denominator? Now we're going to find whatever is the denominator. This time is what? X square minus 3 and then the x, right? Good. So what do we do here? We use the general rule. That's where we're going to start. At all times, we use the general rule here. So we are differentiating the what? X squared minus 3, the x, right? So we have x squared minus 3. So all we need to do is what? We take that exponent 2 and then we multiply by the whole term x. But do we need to write x squared? No, we have to subtract 1 from x, from 2. We have to subtract 1 from 2. We always take 1 from the exponent. So if we take 1 from 2, we're going to have 1. But do we need to say 2x to the power 1? No. We are not in high school. We are in the university. So it is 2x, right? Now, and then the derivative with respect to the constant, minus 3, is just 0. Because the derivative of a function with respect to x, or the derivative of a constant, is what? It's always 0. So that one collapses. We don't need to add anything here. It collapses because it's a constant. And so the answer here for this derivative, the derivative of the denominator is 2x, right? So we have that one. Now, we are going to multiply that derivative by the numerator, by whatever is in the numerator. Now, The numerator we know is 3x to the power 4 plus 4x minus 2, right? So we just multiply that by 2x. Just take the 2x, multiply by each of the terms in the bracket, right? So 2 times 3 is 6, and then x to the power 1 times x to the power 4. Now we are saying x to the power 4, right? Multiply by x to the power 1. So what is x to the power 4 times x to the power 1? It's just x to the power 4 plus 1, which is what? X to the power 5. So 6x to the 5 plus what? Now we have x to the 1 times x to the 1 is just x squared, and then 2 times 4 is 8. Now we multiply minus 2 by 2x. That gives us minus 4x, because minus times plus is minus, right? So this is the answer. This is the result when we multiply the derivative of the denominator by whatever is in the numerator. That is step 2. And now step 3. We are now going to subtract the answer in step 2 from the answer in step 1. That is what we're going to do now. Now, you know we have the answer here for step 2. Step 2, we have the answer as what? 6x to the 5 plus 8x squared minus 4x, right? We are going to subtract that this answer from the result we have in step 1. And the result we have in step 1 was 12x to the power 5 plus 4x squared minus 36x to the power 3 minus 12, right? So what do we do here? We make sure we put everything in brackets. Do you know why? Because we have a different sign here. We have a negative sign. If we don't do that, we might be tempted to just say minus 6x squared plus this plus that, and that means your answer will be wrong, okay? So you have to make sure the sign outside the bracket affects all the signs within the bracket, okay? So now let's continue. So what we need to do now is we are going to collect all the like terms. We're going to look at all those terms that look alike, all the terms that look alike, right? So now we have 12x to the power 5, and then we have 6x to the power 5 here, right? So we take 12x to the 5, and then minus, we have this minus here. It affects the plus in the bracket, so it becomes plus. It's become minus. So minus 6x to the power 5, right? And now we take minus 36x to the power 3. There is no x to the power 3 here, so we just write minus 36x to the power. Okay? Now let's look at x to the power 2. We have 4x to the power 2 here. We have 8x to the power 2 here. So we take our plus 4x to the power 2 and then minus 8x to the power 2, right? So why do we have a minus here? It's because this minus sign affects the plus sign here. Minus times plus becomes what? Minus. Okay? Good. Now, we now move on to the 4x. Do we have any x here, 4x here? No. Do we have any other x variable here? No. I think all the x variables here have been in the first bracket have been accounted for. Now let's account for this other x term here, which is minus 4x. So we have minus 4x. Do we need to write minus 4x? No. We have to multiply this minus by this minus. Now this negative sign out of the bracket will affect this negative sign, this minus 4. And that becomes minus minus becomes plus 4. Okay? Right. So that becomes plus 4. Good. So, and now we have a minus sign here. So we don't have any sign that will affect it. So we just write our minus sign, minus 12. Okay? Now let's collect like terms now. We have 12x to the power 5 minus 6x to the power 5. It's just like saying 12x minus 6x, okay? And that is what? 6x to the power 5, right? 12 minus 6 is just 6. And then we have 36x to the power 3. And we have, now, here is the catch. We have 4x to the power 2 minus 8x to the power 2. Do we need just to say plus 4x? No. Now you see, we are subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number, right? So the bigger number always carries a sign. It has a negative sign, so we have to put a minus there. So 8 minus 4 is just what? Minus 4x squared, right? And then we have our plus 4x here. And then we have minus 12. You got it? So that is the answer in, for step 3. Step 3. This is the answer for step 3. Now, let's move on to the fourth step, right? Step 4. We are going to take the square of the whole term in the denominator. Whatever is in the denominator, we take the square of that. And when we say square, what do we mean? Now, if we say 2 square, what does that mean? It means 2 times 2, right? So if we say 6 square, again, it means 6 multiplied by 6, right? You multiply this term by itself. You multiply x squared minus 3 by x squared minus 3, okay? So, again, you have to put everything in bracket here, and you multiply each term in the first bracket by each of the terms in the second bracket, okay? Now, we take x squared times x squared, and that gives us x to the power 4, right? X squared times x squared. It is not 2 times 2 here, please. It is x squared, x raised to the power 2 times x to the power 2 is x to the 2 plus 2. You got it? Okay, we are applying the laws of indices here. So, x to the power 2 times x to the power 2 is x to the power 2 plus 2, which is 4. And then we multiply this x to the power 2 by minus 3. Of course, minus times plus is minus, and then 3 times x to the power 2 is x to the power 2. Now we're done with this first term. Let's take the second term, minus 3 here in the first bracket. Minus 3 multiplied by the first term. The first term in the second bracket, x squared, is minus plus is minus 3x to the power 2. And now let's take the second term in the first bracket and multiply that by the second term in the second bracket. Minus 3 multiplied by minus 3, minus times minus is plus, and then 3 times 3 is 9. Now, we now collect all the like terms. We now simplify this one. We have x, we bring x to the power 4 down here. And then we have minus 3 minus 3 minus 6. It gives us minus 6x squared. And then plus our 9. Now, what we do now is we divide the answer in step 3 by the answer in step 4 to get the derivative. So, this is the answer for step 4, right? Right? So we are going to divide the answer we get for step 3 and we divide that answer by the answer we get here, step 4. And that gives us the derivative. Remember, the answer we get in step 3 was 6x to the power 5, 36x to the power 3, minus 4x squared plus 4x minus 12, right? And then this other answer, the answer in step 4 is x to the power 4 minus 6x squared plus 9. So if we divide those two, that gives us the derivative. That is the derivative of the problem we are supposed to solve. So I hope this one will help you guys to do your problem set. If you have any question, please feel free to send me an email, shoot me an email, or you can call me at any time. I am at your disposal. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help everybody. I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys to pass this course. So if you have any problem, please do not hesitate to call me. I am so flexible. I am a people's person. You can call me at any time. You can shoot me an email at any time. I will make sure I try to respond to every email and every call. I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys not only to succeed, but to have something up your sleeves. Okay?